veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play, and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no, I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capping space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
hey guys, welcome back. Welcome back to Actually Aubrey, and it is time for Ready to Love Miami, episode 3. What is that? Opposites don't always attract, or something crazy like that, guys?
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. How's everybody doing today?
Great.
Good.
Doing well. How about you?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you. Cornbread, that voice, man. You know, you're the only guy on the panel. Our other guys, you know, I don't know. They kind of flaked out on me, including that dang on Alex fella. I don't know about him.
Oh man, that's messed up. They shouldn't treat you like that, you know.
They shouldn't. I'm trying to tell you, but that's all right. I got you. Me and the other ladies got you to ourselves, so that's all right. I ain't mad. They did me a favor.
Cornbread, how long you been having this voice? You know what I'm saying? This radio voice of yours.
Right.
I don't probably since I was about 11, 12 years old. Something like
really?
that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the older women that were checking him out when they heard that voice and turn around like, what?
They like, boy, put your daddy on the phone. I am your daddy.
Right. That's funny.
Hey, A-Team members, chat family, Reza, Roro, extraordinary member and moderator, Ellen V. Hey there. All right. Carl. Hey there, Carl. Yeah, cousin Cornbread is in the house. Hey there, Monique. Also another A-Team member and moderator extraordinaire. Happy Sunday. Yes. Oh, wait a minute. We got a request. We got a special request for you, Cornbread. Can you say that?
What? Oh, where the request? You said, what's the request?
The request is on the screen. She wants you to say, I'm your daddy.
Oh Lord, y'all got me working out here already. You know what I'm talking about?
He said, listen, Ellen V. He said, let him get warmed up. We'll come back to that. I'll put a star on that comment. Okay, we'll come back to it. Okay.
That's funny.
Guys, if you're in the house, go ahead and hit that like button. You know how it helps out in the algorithm. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to your girl, Actually Aubrey. You know I'll be bringing you great content over here. Tomorrow night we'll be doing Bell Collective from OWN also. So guys, go ahead and get those likes up and that subscription up. We know, it helps us out. And look at Ellen V. She's just cracking up. Roro says, welcome, Cornbread, Kimberly, Jay. Yeah, welcome into the house. Right. We're gonna go ahead and get started. This was I thought it was a pretty interesting episode, guys. What did you think? Just first reactions, and then we'll get into the what happened. Jay.
Again, a lot of moving parts, a lot of pieces. I'm trying to be nice to start off right now.
Okay, I get it. Kimberly, I'm gonna holler at you. You new here to the RTL panel family. So any just opening thoughts, just brief opening thoughts on this episode.
Sharice is growing on me. Sharice is definitely growing on me, and Samson. So I was not expecting that.
Okay. I'm gonna find out a little bit later because I'm curious to find out. I can see Samson growing on you, but I'm really curious how Sharice was growing on you. But I was over on your channel for the live review, so I think I kind of understand why. What about you? What about you, Cornbread? What are your thoughts?
I thought it was interesting that, but it was kind of, it wasn't too many sparks to that for me. But I thought that I like Mike so far. I think Mike get a bad rep. It seems
Mike.
like they're giving him
Magic Mike. I had to think for a
Yeah.
minute, like, cause I'm so used to
Yeah.
calling him Magic Mike without the magic.
Oh,
I
that-
didn't even recognize his name.
oh, that's what y'all call him. Oh yeah. I think
Yeah.
I think I like the way Mike has been flowing with his stuff. So I think he stayed the course on it right now.
You're right.
Mhm.
You're right. I can't say, even though I know he's got a past or whatever like that, but we all have different pasts or whatever. But
Right.
you're
Right.
right though. Actually, with the dating and with the women, I think he's handled them. He's been consistent. I'm gonna say that he's been consistent, right?
Yeah, he stood his ground. I like how he representing himself.
How he represent himself. Well, it's a little thing. We're gonna get into it later about him and Sister April. We're gonna talk about that a little bit later. Let me flip over here to the comments section. Look like they going crazy over here in the comments section. Oh, hey, it's Mocha Mima. Good evening. Jay's always busy in the chat. She multitasks. She does that better than anybody I know so far. Oh, hey there, Esther. Welcome in. New face. Welcome. And yeah, we'll leave that up there for a second. Definitely, you guys think about becoming a member over here at Actually Aubrey. There's lots of various perks, and there's 4 different levels, so you can pick your level that suits you. Hey, Monique says she beat you to it. Okay. Yep. You guys are on the case. So we're going to get over here to these note cards and get started. We open as usual. We're always in either the ladies' lounge, but this week it was the men's lounge, and the first time in the gentlemen's lounge this season. The men are discussing what's going on and what's missing in their dating lives. And some of the men say things like substance. The women look good, but there may be a little bit lacking in the intelligence department. Maybe that's emotional intelligence. I thought that was interesting, but this is what the guys were saying. And I call him Uncle Nephew Tommy. He tasked the guys with dating. He tasked the men with dating outside their norm. And let's see what happens. So you guys had any thoughts about somebody maybe has a little something, a tab open or something going on in the background? I can hear some feedback. Okay. But anyway, you guys, any thoughts about what the guys were saying was missing, that the women weren't quite hitting up the part? We're gonna hit the guy first. Cornbread, tell us what you were thinking. Were you in agreement with what the men were saying? Is that the way it is out here in these single streets?
The only thing I took from it was that I think some of the women probably just weren't showing as much excitement as some of these dudes might have been used to in the normal circumstances. They might roll up in other places or other scenarios, and they getting a whole bunch of love and women jumping on them. But if these women are doing that, they taking that more of a disinterest more than they used to. That's what I got from it. I didn't really, from what I was watching, I didn't really see anybody being too intellectually lazy or I didn't get any negative things from it. I forgot the one girl's name, the one that was eating the ribs the whole time. That was funny.
Katie. Yeah, I got a note card about her later. Yeah,
she seemed a little bit, I don't know. She seemed a little bit aloof. But other than that, I didn't get that vibe that the guys were talking about from what I saw on the screen anyway.
Yeah.
But we all know the screen stuff is the screen stuff. So
right. And you know what, Cornbread, what about this? I was thinking though too, when he asked the gentleman that, I was thinking that he was more referring to in the past, like so leading up to the show, right?
He could have been.
No.
He could have been. Who knows? Sometimes the way they chop it up, it's hard to get the context for it too. So
yeah, that is so true. Jay, any thoughts on that before we move on? And
I think I can't remember out of the two who actually was the one who was saying it. It was either Samson or Zoe was saying that the women by face and looks are a dime a dozen, but they were looking for somebody with some intellect, some depth.
They kind of broke it up. So it seemed like Zoe started off saying that the dime a dozen comment, and then they moved over to Samson, and Samson was talking about the intellect, which, like I said, I thought was kind of highly suspect a little bit, but I could be wrong.
Well, for Samson, to me, if he said the intellect part, it kind of makes some sense, being that he's a life coach, so he does look for people to communicate with.
Okay.
And we'll get into that later on with who he chooses. But
Right, because that's what I'm.
Yeah, for Zoe, I'm just like, okay, I did. We could have had more conversation from him, but unfortunately, somebody was cutting him off so much that we didn't get much out of him.
Out of Brother Zoe or Brother Samson?
Yeah, no, Brother Zoe, because when he was with not Brittany, Shakira, it was like she'll ask a question, and then as soon as he get ready to answer, he give parts of an answer. She was going to a next question, or she was saying something, and it was just like, child, like, let him talk a little bit, please. So.
Yes, I got that in my notes too. We're gonna discuss that, how we women, because I've been guilty of it myself, how we sometimes can self-sabotage. Absolutely, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I do want to say though, for them going outside the box, as far as the dates concerned, where they went, I like the ideas of the acrobatic gym. I don't know what that's called, in the archery. So it was good to see them doing some real creative dates this season.
I see what you're saying. I absolutely see what you're saying, and I agree. I definitely agree. Yeah, I thought those were definitely creative dates. I was like, wow, if I was out there dating, I think I would like to check out some of that, particularly the archery. I don't know about at this point the acrobats, but but particularly the archery, I thought, yeah, I probably could do that. You know, that and axe throwing. I think for some reason, even though I've never done it, I think I'd be good at it. But okay, so we'll move on to the next note card. Let's see. Mike is saying, as we conclude with the gentleman's lounge, Mike is saying that he's seeking another connection because we know that he was almost eliminated last week. So he's looking for another solid connection. Then we see that LJ and Looney go out on their date. And meanwhile, Shakira has a one-on-one with Zoe, which is what we were just talking about. You want to take Kimberly? You want to talk a little bit about the LJ and Looney date?
Yeah, so I enjoyed it. LJ right now is one of my favorites. Well, he was doing great until he opened his mouth and started singing. So that was just, it gave him a few X's on his block. But I do like LJ and Looney together. I really hope it works out. But I'm staying tuned because it doesn't seem that he has many connections. So I hope that's not going to root him out, pretty soon. But I think he and Looney would be a pretty good connection. And I'm loving the going outside of the box deal, because a lot of times we try to stay conformed to what we like or what we're used to. But when you get up in your 30s, 40s and up, it's time to change things if you feel single and want to be married. So I think that really is a good idea. I'm definitely rooting for whoever LJ ends up with.
Yeah, LJ seems to be a good guy. Like you said, the singing, I mean, he can keep his day job, but but he seems like a genuine he seems like a genuinely good guy though. That's what I picked from him so far. I don't see any, like, he's not arrogant, he's not domineering. Exactly. I don't see any of those traits that we sometimes see with the men on the show, where they're, arrogant or they're domineering with the women. Like, he's not showing any of that. What about you, Cornbread? What were your thoughts on either the LJ and Looney date or the Shakira and Zoe date without Alfonso?
I thought the LJ and Looney date was okay. I feel like Looney's not as, just what I'm getting from the energy, I don't really feel like Looney's that into LJ personally. Okay. The Zoe, who did Zoe go out with again?
Wait a minute! I just came off the no card. There it is. Zoe went out with Shakira, the young dark skinned chocolate girl with the flower in her hair. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought that one was a better one. But it's just hard to tell sometimes, just the way, because from behind the scenes, I know how they pull the context out of a lot of stuff, so it's hard to try to feel what it really probably is flowing right there. But on the loony one specifically, I don't see that going anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You didn't see that. Well, that brings me to with Shakira and Zoe. Did anybody, was it just me, or did anybody see that it didn't really look like a equally yoked type of situation? Shakira and Zoe have a big age difference, which is not always an issue, especially when it's the woman being younger. We know traditionally women tend to date older men, right? Okay, even though it's now going the other way too. But what I was concerned about was when she kept asking him, well, you didn't ask me for my number. You didn't ask me for my number. You didn't ask me for my number. And I'm like, you know what? If I gotta tell a man that he didn't ask me for my number, he don't want your number, sweetheart. Did anybody else see that, or did you see it a different way? What about you, Jay?
No, I definitely seen that. It was just like, sis, if he didn't ask for your number and he still ain't asked for it, just relax. Let him be a man and let him ask for the number if he want to get it. If he wants to get to know you more, and if he don't ask for it, then you kind of know, like, okay, I either talk myself out of this or he just don't like me. And that's what it was kind of. It was kind of like you're pressuring him to get your number, and then what? Then what?
Right.
You know, then what? Now, and then the thing is, we're on the dating show. And at the end of the day, it's still a competition. So him calling you does not necessarily mean that he's interested in you like that. So if he doesn't get the number and pursue anything with you, then that should let you know, okay, moving forward, when I'm in the ladies' lounge, well, I haven't had much conversation with him, so he's off my list. That's just it. Like, stop doing all the work for people. Sometimes we do too much work for people, and then we have ourselves in situations that we regret being in later on because we kind of forced ourselves and that person in it. So it's like, chill a little bit. He wants to get to know you, like he said, see how you are on a date first. And then if he wants to know more, he'll ask for it. Let him ask. Let him be a man. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of seeing how the relationship would kind of go. If I was a man dating her, I'd be like, child, okay, you're going to be picking out my clothes. You're going to be ordering my food. You're going to be telling me how to drive.
Micromanaging like she,
yes.
As if he's her 7 or 8 year old son, or however her young son is. I don't know his age, but that's, I had to, a gentleman addressed that with me one day when we first started talking many years ago when my son was still a child. He says, I see you a little bit of a micromanager. And it really kind of blew my head off because I was like, huh? And then I thought about it and I had to recognize he was absolutely right. I don't know if he wasn't saying that directly like I was doing that toward him, because it was basically my son at the moment that I was micromanaging. But I had to think about that in relationships. So sometimes when we're mothers and we're single parents and we're managing our children, or even if we do certain jobs, you have certain skill sets. Sometimes you bring those skill sets into your relationships, but they're not good for your relationship, if that makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, sometimes you got to do little slick stuff. Like I did this one time on the low. Like I put my number down and put it in the guy's pocket or whatever, without him realizing it or whatever. So when it was later on, it was like, you should give me a call sometime. He like, oh, I don't even have your number. So I'm like, just check your pocket. Like, so it's just like,
yeah.
Do little things or whatever. How they always tell us, you got to tell him what to do, but make it seem like he doing it. Like,
yeah, my ninth grade algebra teacher used to say a woman has to some kind of way, I forget how he said it exactly, but she has to walk him into making him think it's his idea. And that's exactly right. I always say too, a smile and just being open and being friendly. Like the whole thing about the number, I would never ask a guy that if he didn't give my number. I mean, I think I'd have to be like star-crossed. And when I saw him, like I knew he was the one, because just on this show right here, I would never like you didn't ask for my number, but somehow I knew to meet you here for this date. So that's good enough, dude. So if by the end of this date, if he's not asking for it on his own, move on.
Mm-hmm.
Those are just my thoughts. Go ahead.
I'll tell y'all this just from a little behind the scenes part of it.
Okay.
Some of that stuff might not be what really happened, right? So like that
Oh,
whole little number thing,
yeah,
that
yes.
that might have been somebody holding the card up, like, do this,
Mm.
Yeah.
right?
Oh, oh,
So what
okay.
happened? Yeah, so like I watched that part a little. I saw that part too, and
Mm-hmm.
one thing of as a man, I've come across women like that as well. So it could have been real, like I said, but it could have been manufactured. But that's not
Right.
uncommon. A lot of women are used to not being like chased down, especially very attractive women and things like that, because typically
Mm-hmm.
dudes are going to chase them down and pressing them for their number and jumping off, making a big commotion about them. So if they not used to getting a whole lot of commotion and
Mm-hmm.
you don't do it, then they like, where they do that at? You know who I am? I'm Shakira. Like, everybody loves me.
Yeah, I kind of took Corbin. That's an excellent point because I kind of took that in consideration. I thought, she is absolutely stunning in my opinion, right? She is
Right.
absolutely stunning, and she probably doesn't get not asked for her phone number very often. But however,
Mhm.
no matter how stunning you are or think you are, guess what? You may not be someone else's type.
Right. And
'Cause
then
she is a very specific type.
yeah, and she shut down. She probably shut down most of the rooms she in. But just like I tell people all the time, depending on where you at, depending on the context and the circumstances,
Mm-hmm.
you might be a 10 in your town, but down
Right.
here, but in
But
this scenario, in this context, you're not the outlier no more, right? Or some of these
Right.
guys, some of these men, they used to they date all women that look as good or as good as you. So the whole the shock and all part of it is not going to be there all the time, and they're not used to that
Right.
because usually she's going to be in the top tier wherever else she at.
So I know that production does ask you guys to do a lot of things, but even still with that, and then combined with the Looney and LJ situation, because Looney is basically saying LJ is the only person that got her number. Or whatever. So it's almost like none of these guys, like he didn't get nobody's number, period. That's what it's coming off as to me. Like, so because out of Looney's mouth now, Les Production is telling Looney, be like, okay, you mentioned that he got your number. He the only one that got it. And then telling her to do this over here. It's kind of like too close of a coincidence that
Well, yeah, that's that type of stuff happened all the time. Like, even with me when I came on in our season, I got different directions than the other rest of the cast got. So stuff like that does happen. Okay. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was something like that, right? They might have told, you get different direction depending on who you're talking to.
Oh, okay.
Right? And who you are, right? So they got
right. They trying to create certain narratives.
Just remember, it's still. Just remember, I tell everybody this: it's still TV. It's still
right.
It's still produced.
Right.
You know
it's
what I'm
still
saying?
Produced.
So that just make sure you always keep that in your mind when you hearing the narrative that's coming out, and they remove a lot of context from things too. So I know even when I watch it, I'm like, I try not to judge them up front because I know what I said on my stuff and how it came out. I was like, oh. So I apologize to everybody I had done reviews for, because I used to watch Love is Blind, Married at First Sight, all these other shows, and I'm like, these dudes is wilding. And then I saw how it come out. I'm like, oh, he probably didn't need to do that, or she probably didn't need to do that, right? So it's interesting to see the actual events versus what's presented.
Oh, okay. Cornbread, I did not realize that you had your own YouTube channel, so I might have to come over there and be a guest on your channel. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And Kimberly, I haven't forgotten about you. Go ahead, girl. Jump in. You had some thoughts about these dates?
Yes, just the one about Shakira and Zoe. I think that it was a great point for Cousin Cornbread to remind us about, like, the, I guess, scripted parts of the show that they try to push, or the narrative. But I think it was a good observation for Shakira, but it's just something that probably should have stayed in her head. It's not something that should have been, spoken. You just make note of it, like, oh, well, he didn't, ask for my number. You just make note. And like you said, maybe after the second or third date, if he's still not asking for it, then you can bring it up and, make your decision at that point, whether you continue or just know that maybe he's just not that into her. Like you all said, she may be the type that's used to men just throwing themselves at her, dying to get her contact information. And now that he's not doing this because whatever reason, it's kind of throwing her off.
Right, right. Oh, and also, Jay, did you want to touch on? I think this was the part where we were going to touch on about how she would not allow him to get some answers out during this conversation, right?
Yeah.
Shakira, go ahead.
I mean, I'm not mad at the questions that she was asking because, of course, it's concerning the welfare of her and her child in the long run. But
yes,
you have preconceived notions that you want answered, yet you don't give him the chance to fully answer none of these things. You're jumping in to tell him that you got these preconceived notions, and it's just like, shh, don't do that. One, you don't need to tell him that you already judged him. Prior to coming into this. That's not what he needs to know. We judge people all the time. That's what we do as human beings or whatnot. But we don't go around telling you, well, I thought you was an a-hole and I thought you was a b and I thought this. Like, we don't just do that with people. We just let them come to us and say, oh, you know what, I was right. Oh, you know what, I was wrong about you. We don't just come out and say, oh, I just thought you wasn't going to be this way because I got this kid and my kid is this age, and come to find out it's like, well, I have a daughter too, so, ma'am. Calm down. Like just calm down, breathe. Let me get something in.
Although if I jump in, I do believe that his daughter, if I'm not mistaken, is 21. So quite a bit of difference from an adult college age child to maybe a 7-8-year-old. Yeah.
But even still, it's still a man raising a child and stuff at the same time. And sometimes depending on, that would have been more of a question that you wanted to ask, is like, how involved were you with your child? Did you stay married to the woman before your child got a certain age? How long was y'all together? What makes you so accessible to travel or whatnot? And how do you feel about traveling with a kid? Like,
oh, okay. Yeah, I like
ways to find out if he wants to deal with a younger kid instead of just saying, well, you know what, I thought because you like to travel, you don't like kids. Like,
yeah, it's a big gap in between from A to Z, isn't there?
And you could tell the way he responded. He took a little offense to it, but he responded nice and politely, just in the way of just saying, like, I do have a daughter, so I get where you're coming from. My daughter is a package for me, so I get it. And I was just like, okay.
Yeah, because I did ask the question here on this card. I said, well, are Alfonso and Shakira unequally yoked? Because of the fact that although they both have children, his child is an adult and her child is very much still a minor. Doesn't mean that he's not willing to create a life if everything else matched up and he's interested in her, and if he ever got her phone number. Doesn't mean that he's not interested and they can't work. But I was just wondering, that's just a question I had in my head. But yeah, to what we were just saying, I didn't like the way she kept interrupting him. How even though, like you said, we oftentimes do make assessments of people, it's not necessary that everything you think you have to regurgitate it back out to the person. That's not normally wise, especially so early in the dating process. Looney kind of, I thought, made a little misspeak too, like when she was saying to Looney was out with LJ and she was letting him know that he was the only guy that got her number. I was kind of like, I don't know if I would have given him that piece of vital information, but that's just me. But then to what you're saying, Cornbread, could have been that she had to say that. It's on the cue cards. I don't know. That always kind of throws things off. But we'll move along. LJ's plans. I was also wondering about LJ. So getting back, we know LJ is from the Caribbean island. He's from United States Virgin Islands. And I was wondering, like, so when he talked about all of his family is still back in the Virgin Islands, did anybody ever ask him, well, what are his plans regarding his family? Like, like a lot of people that migrate to the United States, continental United States, Is he planning on bringing his family over? Is he sending money back home? Is there a woman back there? I mean, there's so many questions to that. Because I don't know. I guess because I watched 90 Day Fiance, guys. So maybe I'm a little deep into it like that. You know what I'm saying? But has anybody else thought about that? What about you, Kimberly? You're over there.
Yes, I agree. I'm wondering too because I thought it was kind of odd. So, did he ever say how he got here? That's one question I have. But I'm pretty sure either he's sending a large lump sum back home because that's how they usually do, or he's planning to bring some over. And I wonder how that would work with his date because probably would need a place to stay, and would this person be open to that? So yeah, I'm looking forward to finding out more. That's why I hope they keep him on the show for a long time, even till the end. But I'm looking forward to seeing what is his plan, like you said. But I hadn't gotten any other details as far as, how he got here, and if he plans to go back, because a lot of people come and just work, like you say on 90 Day Fiance, they work for a period of time and then they end up going back home. So is that LJ's plan?
Yeah, that's a thought. But I was to how he got here. I was gonna say, he may have studied here. He may have been a student at a college here. I know some friends that came over and studied, went to Ivy League colleges, and they just stayed. But I don't know about that. Just a thought. Like I said, just a thought that I had. You guys have any thoughts on that? Cornbread over there laughing. I guess kind of like there was a little bit of a generalization over there on Kimberly there, because
Yeah, y'all was.
we don't know. I just want to say
Y'all over there. Y'all done turned this man into a whole scammer out here.
Well, no, I haven't, but I'm just saying I'm wondering though. I am wondering.
Hold on, but y'all said y'all were asking about Kimberly. You said something about him bringing somebody over. What was that? What were you concerned about with that?
Oh, go ahead, Kimberly. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because a lot of times when people come internationally, it's like one of the things that makes their family proud when they can come to America as well. And so I was just wondering if that is his goal, which is fine. I wouldn't, be against it, and definitely not calling my favorite a scammer. But I would just be interested if, that's his plan, or if he's just here and just going to leave, the family. Because I was engaged last year to a guy who is from another country, and that is usually the goal, to get another family here, and then that's just how they operate.
But they already, I mean, he's on the U.S. Virgin Islands is still,
it's part of the
U.S.
US.
Right? So,
yeah, but it's not continental, and I say that because I was gonna say my ex-husband, we used to spend holidays and vacations in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and it's not the same level of standard of living. It's beautiful. Now, don't get me wrong. It's beautiful. And the island people are lovely. They're hospitable. They're warm and everything, just like the weather. But it is not the same standard of living. Trust and believe.
oh yeah, there's definitely upgraded infrastructure here in the continental side for sure.
Correct. And then if
Right.
you've ever lived on an island or visited an island, the other thing about it is too, we all know that these hurricanes, tornadoes, or whatever, storms come through, and they can devastate an island in the blink of an eye. And then, it makes life really rough, because tourism is basically their mainstay in terms of industry, right? They're not producing cars. They're not producing some of the things that we produce in various parts of our country here, in the continental U.S. They are basically, the thing that they produce is a vacation town.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't mean to, if anybody is listening, and Kimberly, I'm
Right.
sure she didn't
Thank
either.
you.
We're not trying to say that all people that come to United States are scammers. However, I'm just going to say it would be a question that I'm asking about, what are your plans bringing your family here, and thus and such. And also, this goes for not just people from islands, but does this man have a wife or somebody back at home that I need to be concerned about?
No, not my LJ. No, I can answer that.
Mm-hmm.
You said you can answer.
I'm assuming.
And you know what? I'm going to jump around here. So Ellen V is going to take us off this topic for a minute, because this is something I was saying about Shakira in my notes, and I might have skipped over it. I don't feel like I know anything about Shakira except that she's a mom. I feel like that's so big of her identity, and the fact that she's also very beautiful, but I don't know anything about her, and I feel like I would like to see a little bit more of her personality and what her hopes and dreams are for herself outside of her children. Because as a mom myself, kids grow up like you blink your eye, they're 10, you blink your eye again, they're 15, you blink your eye again, they're 20. So they're out the house. Okay, so what next? Like, tell me about who you are and what are your desires and goals for your life. I feel that way. Does anybody else feel that way about Shakira, or is it just me?
Yeah, I don't know what she does. What does she do as far as her career? I don't remember.
She's actually supposed to be a host and a model, an actual professional model.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Jay, you have any thoughts on it?
I just want to know what the trauma is, because whatever it is that she's running from or got away from is still a major part of her. Because in that first ladies' lounge that they had, it was what was hurting her the most, because she was in tears. So I'm curious on that and how she's moving forward from that.
Yeah, that's a thought too. I want to know, and I'm assuming because they kept talking about it a couple of episodes ago about this trauma that happened and her crying. So I'm assuming that we are going to find out what the trauma is, but I'm almost scared to hear it, because as a mother, I just got to thinking about some horrific things that could have happened that would be traumatizing to her and her son. So I'm like,
yeah, because I do believe she was married. I'm not sure if it's the child's father or not, but I thought she mentioned being married to them at some point. So I'm not sure. I got to go back and watch, but it's a lot when you go through that whole process of divorce, and if you got a baby with that person, you got to go through all of that. And if there's any other trauma that was included in it, that's still a lot more that you got to unpack. So there's a lot there that she has hidden, and that's probably why we don't know much about her, because as soon as we start opening doors about her, all of that has to come out too. So we'll see.
Okay, yeah, okay. Well, let me see. Let me get back over here to the notes for a second. Okay. I felt like let's see, we're going to this last part of this card. Samson meets Sharice for a one-on-one, and guys, it's just my opinion, but I felt like Sharice did a real fine job of pretending. She said Samson seems like a protector, and then my other notes is just my observation. Clearly, Sharice does not like or want kids, and there's nothing wrong with that unless the man does and she decides to fake it or tell a lie about it. Because I have met and come across men who were very genuinely tricked by women who said they wanted to have children once they were married, and then it turns out they did not want to have children and would not have children. So we want to start with Kimberly. You want to say anything about this date with Sharice and Samson?
This is the date that kind of made me like Sharice a little more, because of her comments about not wanting to date a man with children. And so or even a man who has never been married. Now that was a strong point for her to say, because that's going to be kind of tough at, her age. And I think it was Mike who tried to shade her and say she was 45, but I think she said she was 43. But I'm looking forward to seeing just where she goes with that, and if she sticks to it, because it is kind of tough. Even I'm 35 dating, or I'll be 35 Wednesday and dating, and I'm just seeing that it's kind of hard. Either they have children or they've been married. And that is a bold point to make. So that's what made me open up to her. And I hope it wasn't just a cue card type of thing. I hope that is truly her belief, because that is also my goal. I prefer at this time to date men who do not have children and who have not been married. And I'm just looking forward to seeing her. But I think that Samson handles things well, as far as just leading the conversation. I think he just brings intellect to the conversation. And of course, with his profession, we could assume that that would be so. But I just really like the energy there between the two. And I think that he could bring a lot out of Sharice, maybe like a softer side than we seen the first episode. So I'm looking forward to that part.
A softer side of Sharice. That's interesting. Cor- Cornbread, any thoughts about whether there's actually a softer side of Sharice?
I don't know. I think I think there is, but she has to have her perfect match. That's the energy I'm getting from her, which is that she'll do the quote unquote softer side or the more welcoming. You'll get that part of her if you're exactly what she wants. Everybody else, she's gonna quickly be like putting the wall up, like, nah, I'm good. Like, you not it. Get on. Right. Like, keep it moving. And then, but if you're the guy that she likes, then she'll be like, I bet now I'll be more, welcoming and accommodating and all that kind of stuff. I think in her opening interview, or like when they introduced her, she had mentioned things that she likes, right? I think once she finds those exact things, then she'll be fine. But other than that, she's gonna keep giving everybody the stone wall and all the attitude and all that stuff. That's in my opinion, that's the energy I get from her anyway. And ain't nothing wrong with that. Some people know exactly what they want, and they should get what they want. I like it. I'm like, if I ain't your type, bet. Like, don't waste even one of our time, right? I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to be where I'm not wanted, and you don't want to be where you don't want to be. So get it out of there.
Right. I'm just trying to think of which one of those guys outside of Samson. Does anybody tell me? Is there outside of Samson and I guess LJ? Is there any other guys that in this group that don't have children? Because a lot of
LJ got a kid. LJ got a kid.
Oh, he has a kid. Okay, so Samson doesn't, and maybe. What about King Reginald? I don't think he said anything about a child.
Who?
So it's
Randall.
I'm sorry, Randall.
Oh, I was about to say, who the hell is King Reginald?
We haven't heard anything.
But that
we haven't heard anything either way for him as far as a kid goes. So I'm not sure.
Y'all got good notes. I don't even remember. So everybody except for Randall has kids right now.
We don't know.
We don't
know.
The
only one who has confirmed that he doesn't have any, but Randall, we haven't heard a conversation with him yet mentioning either way. So,
and of course, the one that got booted off, of course, he didn't have kids, and then he thought about he was on camera, and then he said, "Yeah, I do have a son."
This is my thing. That's my thing with Sharice. I don't want to say she don't want to have kids, because that was her argument with Mike. She wants somebody that doesn't have kids and never been married, so she could be there first of all of these things. But at the same time, her energy gives me, I don't want kids. And before Mike, I would figure that she wants somebody with kids because she don't want to have them or can't have them. And I'm not shaming anybody, because there's a number of reasons why women can't have kids. But it's confusion with her right now. I don't know.
Right.
I know she has this list, but I don't think she really is hardcore knowing what she really wants out of what she wants the man to be, more so than what she wants in her life. So it's because it's like going back and forth when you have different conversations with different people. It's like 1 minute it seemed like you want a kid, and the next minute you're going off a man with kids, and then you got you hugging and catering to the man that got a kid but don't want to take care of the kid. So I'm just like,
yeah, she was happy. What was that, Devin? Was that Devin? That was she was happy that I think Devin fit her aesthetic look. That's the first thing about it. I got that she was physically attracted to Devin. And then the fact that he had Sorry.
No, I was saying exactly. Yeah, Devin is who she described and who she liked.
But she also said Mike was her type too. So I was just like,
oh, really?
I think physically that's what her, like, I don't know. I'm not going to say she's a colorist, so I'm not going to go there with it. But I think physically they're both her athletic built. So, and tall. So they fit into her category, but she's weaning them all off now.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. Like, my thing is, is at her age. It's fine to want what you want. It's good to be clear. I like that about her, as Kimberly said. I do like that about her. However, she's got about a snowball's chance of hell of getting it.
It's you laugh, Corbett, but it's the truth. Like, okay, we have a preference, and that's the optimistic side of us. But the realistic side of it is you're at a particular age. And I'm not saying that these men don't exist, because I do know a few men that have never been married and don't have kids. So, but with that, you're gonna have to start taking away some of your other parts of the list. He might not be built the way you want him to be. He might not have the six figures or above that you may want. He might be lacking in some other department. So now you got to figure out which of these you're going to compromise on. And I don't get compromised from her too much. So that's her biggest flaw, like for her, against herself. So
there was a comment. I scrolled, I had it on the screen, and I wanted to talk about it. What Roro said basically in one of these comments here, and I'm having a hard time finding it, but basically just that it's fine what she wants. It's fine. That's perfectly fine. You know, you could say you want a guy 7 feet, 8 feet tall with the size 2 foot. But here's the thing, the way she spoke it to Magic Mike, the way she spoke it and called, you know, kind of said, you know, the marriage and the kids are baggage. It was the way she handled it. It was the way she said it that really would come across to a lot of parents as offensive. You calling my kids baggage? You even calling my ex-spouse baggage? No matter how I may feel about my ex-spouse, we may actually be very good friends and co-parent and have a great relationship as co-parents, right? So the fact that I was married before and you calling that baggage, well, you know, there's a flip side to that. You're 42, 43, or 45, because I think she's closer to 45 and maybe older. You're that age and you've never been married. So, you know, I mean, you could, just like you're going to flip that baggage on him, the baggage could be that, you know, you're a woman of a certain age and nobody ever saw fit to propose to you. I don't know. But it's how she said it, though. That was the whole thing. It was how she said it that I thought was like bordering on offensive. But that's Sharice, though. Sharice is very blunt and to the point of lacking tact. She basically lacks tact, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then, you know, this people don't understand what words mean too, right? I think she just used the wrong word. That word baggage was completely the inappropriate word and phrase to use for what she was trying to say. Right? She just didn't effectively communicate what she wanted to say, and so, you know, she got called out on it, and, you know, she couldn't take it back at that point. So I think she took the wrong word, right? She clearly baggage didn't apply in the contextual use of baggage. Was completely out of line, right? So
I agree with Cornbread, because that's how I took it, is that she must have used the wrong word, but I would have preferred her. I mean, she cleaned it up a bit later on, but I would have preferred her right there in that moment and just saying, you know what, baggage is not the word that I mean, but because we all have baggage, you know, she could have cleaned it up that way, because we all technically do.
And that's the other part of it, right? We all, if you're parent, 40 whatever, you got baggage. Trust me.
Now, as a parent, you know, at the stage that I'm at, my child is no longer a baggage for me. You know what I'm saying? She's not even my package. I ain't got to worry about it. She grown. So, you know, but when she was little, I would have probably took offense to that if a man said that to me. You know, if a woman told me that, I would have took offense, because that's not a baggage. That's my pack. I'm a package deal. Like, we're wrapped in a nice little bow together. Okay. And now I can see, you can look at the divorce possibly as a baggage. You can look at past relationships as baggage if I'm not healed from those things. But to call somebody's children and you don't know what place they are in their life with their children, because that could be a very sensitive thing, especially for a man if he's having to go through some issues with his child in the first, baby mama was the first place to see his kids.
Yep.
I can see how it gets real touchy real fast, and that's why it went over the edge real quick. But, Mike a little sensitive too, so, I like.
You think Magic Mike's a little sensitive?
Magic Mike a little sensitive around it. He he get her a little easy, okay?
But I think I'm gonna go back. Let me see if it flips back. Oh no, it didn't do what I thought it was gonna do. But the comment that was on the screen before that, I think the thing about it is though too, sometimes like we talk about different privileges that people have in society based on their race, based on their age, based on how pretty they are. I think that she didn't take into consideration had he said that to her and had that been her situation and she had children and he had spoken those exact words to her about her baggage, everybody would have went off on him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a good point.
So offensive for a man to tell a woman all that baggage you got. Everybody would have dogged him to the high heavens. So I did get what Mike was saying about that. He hit a point on that. We got to give him credit right there.
There's another point too. Sorry to cut y'all off. There's another point too that I noticed, and it's a different conversations when you're having with people that don't have kids. Mm-hmm. They use different verbiage than people with kids would have because there's a different respect that we have. Because I had this conversation with yesterday about the same thing with people that didn't have kids, and to them they didn't see nothing wrong in her saying that. And it's like, okay, you don't have kids yet, so you don't understand certain levels of love to that degree that you will take offense to this. And it's the kind of same thing when you're talking to single parent versus married, single people versus married people, or single parents versus parents with the thing. Some people won't take offense to certain things because they're not in that situation to see how it becomes offensive to those words. So
I never thought about it. I guess because you know what, I have been a parent most of my adult life. So it's very few years that I had where I wasn't a parent and an adult. So I've always kind of been sensitive to other people with children because I had them. So,
okay. Yeah, I think that's kind of odd though. Like, I don't have kids, right? But I'm also not an asshole, right? She just made an asshole comment. That's all.
Yeah.
And I think that, people that try to say, oh, well, I'm not in your situation, so I can't relate. It's just like sometimes, like for instance, when Jay-Z came out and said, now he has all this respect for women once he had his kids because they were girls. That's weird. That's odd. Well, you didn't. That's crazy, right? Like, I respect people with kids. I respect children, even though I don't have children. I can understand that as a human being who's cognizant of what's going on. Of course, I respect people's kids. Like, I don't need to have kids that respect kids, right? Or respect parents. That's weird. I think that's a weak ass argument personally for people to say, oh, well, because I'm not in that situation, I can't relate. Nah.
Listen, I'm just trying to give them the argument.
I'm just saying,
I'm trying to help them out.
He's very insensitive, though. Bottom line,
I don't ride with that. I don't ride with that.
Well, it depends. I'll take it in this. It depends on the nature of the person. You got to keep seeing it. With Sharice, we can't give her that because we see how she's been acting and moving through the whole thing. Now, somebody else, they might have just made an insensitive comment, but they are really caring people or whatnot. And sometimes it might feed into an echo chamber of somebody else and just regurgitate them thoughts in that same manner. So, I'll just look at it as the person overall who is coming from.
Yeah. So we go into the group dates where Magic Mike meets the trapeze. We got April, we got Looney. Looney's back from, of course, having been caught up in the panorama. We got Sharice and Kayla meet with Mike, Justice, and Swayze. And I don't know if I'm missing a guy because I only have 3 guys to the 4 women, but that's probably fine because, that happens. Kimberly, I'm going to go to you. What are your thoughts on that date, the trapeze date? I thought that looked like fun.
Yes, it did look fun. I've never tried it myself. Would like to, I guess, in the future. But I think it's a good day, a good way to get to know your partner. As far as just opening up and being more comfortable with your partner. So I think it was a good choice.
Okay. All right. Very good. Cornbread, anything about that trapeze date? Would you be up there on that trapeze twirling around? Could you see that?
Usually I don't meet the weight restrictions for that thing. They ain't ready. I'm a big body boy, so they don't want that smoke up there with them little trapeze ropes. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. I hear you.
And I'm scared of heights too, so there's that.
Oh.
I'd have been on the ground. Like, I see y'all when y'all get back.
You've been giving them the thumbs up again. Hey, look, shouting directions. Twirl this way, twirl
Yeah.
that way.
I hold the rope. Yeah, I hold the rope. That whatever the case may be, I help them out. I'm on the watch. I'm the watcher down at the bottom. So yeah. I mean, it was an interesting. I mean, it was a cool thing to do. It's not the norm. So that
not
was,
the norm.
Cool
Yeah.
Yeah.
April seemed to be true to her word when she said she was athletic. She was getting down with the get down. And who was the guy that was up there that had the best moves? In your opinion, Jay?
I think it would have probably been Swayze.
Yeah.
Swayze? I think it was Swayze. I can't remember. Two of them was doing good. I think I want to say Swayze and somebody else. Mike was okay. Mike was okay. Justin checked himself out. Swayze and somebody else.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And that's what I was going to ask you, Cornbread, before you answered it already. At least would you have participated? Because like Justice just like didn't even want to encourage people. He just like,
I would definitely. Yeah, I always participate. I try not to be a party pooper, but I also know my limits, so I ain't gonna get up there and have myself looking crazy.
At least pick me up on the road, be like, help me.
Yeah. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna do something to support.
You gonna assist them ladies, huh? I'm gonna make sure I make my presence known, because I think the thing of it, when I noticed some of the dates when you guys, I can't remember which season it was. Probably last season with Demetrius. I was like, Demetrius is such a stick in the mud. Like, really? Like, he doesn't participate in anything. He's very stoic. Like, what's really going on here?
Hey, yeah, I think people have different personalities. They stand their ground on what they're gonna do and they ain't gonna do. So
listen, Demetrius said if he can't wear a suit to it, he ain't doing it. Like,
hey, my man Demetrius said, "Look, I'm fine. Y'all come to me. Y'all be back.
Suits. I wear suits, and that's
Don't worry
all.
about me."
He said, "I catch you when it's all over with."
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody's still talking about Sister Sharice. Tanya says, "I wouldn't want her around my kids." Yeah, Tanya, I'm with you. When people don't even like kids, it's one thing not to want them, but there's plenty of people that don't want to have their own children that are perfectly fine with children. But yeah, when people don't like children, I definitely wouldn't want them around my child. Yeah.
At that point, I wouldn't want her around my dog. My dog is my child. Like, don't.
Well, it's funny that you said that, because look at this comment from read that one, would you, for me, Jay?
Yeah, would you? She would have a fit if someone called her dog baggage. Yeah.
Remember, she has a little tiny little lap dog.
No,
right?
her little purse dog.
Little purse dog. That's even better. Right.
Yep.
Right. Get your comment up there. But let's see, where were we at? So they did the trapeze, and then it gets to a point where Magic Mike sits down. And
why y'all call that man Magic Mike?
His personal life. His personal IG page. That's why.
Yes, his IG page where he's kind of he's Magic Mike.
Okay.
Oh, I know that. I know he was out there.
Magic Mike. I mean,
you don't need a venture. You don't need a venture over there. Okay, you stay
what is that? Magic Mike OnlyFans page or whatever? But but getting back,
I support him getting his money.
Right. Getting back to he and April, I said, what are you guys' thoughts on the April takeover? So Mike sits down, he's trying to talk to Kayla, and they're doing quite well. Kayla's got her leg across his leg, and all of a sudden April plops down next to Kayla. Then she moves over and then she plops down next to Mike. And the next thing you know, like between her body language and everything, she pretty much takes over Mike to the point where Kayla excuses herself and goes off with I think it was Swayze, right? Mm-hmm. And leaves April and Mike alone. But then it goes from like she's trying to talk to this guy to like she's basically demanding, well, you don't like me, and how come this, and how come, like, what is going on, girlfriend? What's going on? I mean, like, she's so assertive. She's pushing up on him. And then Mike even says to the point where he says, she tells him, I'm not about to force myself or push my way, but that's exactly what she's doing. And then Mike says the way April was handling this conversation, I don't want no parts. He says that in the confessional. He says he really just doesn't want any part. And I'm with him on that because it's just like way too confrontational and way too dramatic. Like, what's going on?
I think he didn't want any parts a little too late though, because I was just like, as the conversation kept going left, I wish he kind of excused himself then or
Okay.
whatnot. Because it was just awkward. I mean, I know this is where I definitely agree. Cornbread production had to play up in this one
Yeah,
because
it
her
feels
first
like it.
conversation, her first conversation was like everybody's booed up. So I just made my way over to Mike, but it's like, why out of all people, when you kind of we seen that you kind of have a connection with Justice, why would you go to Mike unless it's to spite Kayla or, production really just told you to do this? And the fact that you jumped on Kayla first, like you literally sat on Kayla's lap down there first.
Right.
And then went over to the other side. I was like, okay, what kind of vibes do we get now? We about to turn this into a whole party? What's happening? Like what's going on? But then it was just like the conversation shifted. So I'm like, your body language is saying take me, but your conversation is like, what the F? So I was just like, what is going on? What's happening right now? How did we get here? And why are we arguing? And I was like, if that's the way that you want to take a man from a woman by starting an argument with him, that's not a good look. That's just not a good look on your side, his side. The only person that looked good was Kayla walking away with Swayze. I was like, okay, like.
Exactly. And I think Mike felt a little off as well because at first he was caressing Kayla, her shoulder, her arm, and then by like the end of the scene with all three of them, his hand was to himself. So I didn't like that he did that because that could have been like more comforting to Kayla, but then he took that little piece away and he was just like more leaning into April. But I don't know, maybe it was just a nerve thing. I'm not sure, but I did notice that.
I think the way she had plopped herself darn near in his lap, he had no choice but to adjust himself, or else his jewels and other things might have been injured seriously, and he might not ever be able to have more kids and have them with Kayla. So he had to kind of rearrange and adjust himself according to how she plopped down on his lap, virtually.
I'll take it.
But but he continued to massage Kayla. To your point, Kimberly, he continued to massage Kayla for quite a while. But as if you kind of watch the tape back, she kind of continues to move. She being April, she continues to move closer and closer and more on him. So you have to kind of adjust yourself. If somebody is sitting on one of your thighs, you have to kind of continue to adjust yourself to the point where he could no longer really face Kayla and be comfortable. And even Kayla, the way April was moving, Kayla had to take her leg off of Mike's leg. So
I missed that.
It was a whole body takeover.
A body takeover.
At some point, she should have just straddled him and stuff. I was just like, child. Woo.
Exactly. That was she was everything short of straddling him. Exactly. That's really what it was, literally. Which I think for the show, I think they would have said, well, that's a little bit too much, but basically short of her straddling him, that's everything what she was doing. Like, really, like, who does that? That's not even your man. Like, wow, that was a lot. That was a lot. That was a whole lot. And then, like I said, and then end up getting into an argument with them. Like, what did that prove? I'm not really sure where that was supposed to be. So I did have a feeling to what something that Cornbread has said. I did have a feeling that production had their hand in there somewhere.
Yeah, and I think some of that was definitely production driven. From what I just from how it, because every time it seemed like something is real awkward and random. That's probably what it was, right? Yeah, it don't seem like it's in the natural flow of anybody's normal interaction, right? Exactly. Like nobody's gonna jump on, just come run up and flop in somebody's lap out of the blue, right? Like, come on now. Right. But that makes that makes sense if you think about, all right, well, somebody told them to go do that, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's what I felt like. I don't know what happened to Kimberly, but I guess she'll chime back in. She'll come back in if she's able to. Justice and Looney, they seem to be connecting well. Looney, she seems to be a nice young lady. Of course, we missed 1 week with her because of the panorama. Meanwhile, Kayla and Swayze seem to be connecting too. And this is the part where I don't know how I got this in here. This is the part where I say, well, Mike's kids are baggage to Sharice. We've already discussed that, so we can move on from there. But anybody, any thoughts on the Justice and Looney date?
You thought they were connecting? That's cute.
Um, yeah. Okay, tell me about that. Tell me what your thoughts are.
You know what? From watching Looney interactions with LJ, Looney is just a very nice, outgoing type personality that I'm getting from her. That she's just she smiles in everybody's face.
She's always,
yeah, she's smiling at everybody. Plus, she's already having to play catch up, so she's going to be on her most politest, best behavior, of course. Because she had her week off, so she kind of admitted to it that she's feeling like she's behind, which she's really not. But she's feeling like she has to play catch up anyway. So I feel like in that she was giving Justice polite conversation, but Justice wasn't looking like he was talking about much of anything and giving her much of anything, as he called it, integrating her back into the progress. I mean, the process, like, brother, like, please, like, spare us. And I mean, she finds him attractive, so she was probably just lost up in something for a second too, giving him googly eyes and whatnot. But I don't see any connection, especially coming out from him. I'm kind of like, why are you here?
Yeah, Justice. Okay, I gotta think about that. That Justice is the one that's kind of a little bit arrogant, a little self-centered, right? Okay, I got my guys mixed up. Okay, gotcha.
I agree with your assessment on that one. But I think from all the clips they played, they said Justice is like, he's the favorite with the ladies, so he getting all the love. So there's that too. So he probably like, yeah. That's why he had that whole, I feel like that's why he has that, the persona that he's displaying, like, yep, we integrating you back in, like, and I'm the ringleader because everybody coming through me. And so I feel like that's kind of what it's going at right there. So we'll see what happens. But I agree with you. Looney is kind of like a very courteous person. So she get along with whoever.
Okay. So and then we already discussed the Sharice and the kids situation. We already talked about that, so we're gonna move on from there. Okay, so you guys don't hit me, don't scream at me because I said Reginald. Okay, I know now it's Randall. I got it. King Randall.
You call him what you want.
No, King Randall.
Where you get the king? Where do you get the king part from? Is that what you call this?
Last
week.
You
want to tell him, Jay?
Yeah. Sharice, when she came into the room, oh my God, y'all treating him like a king. Oh, y'all feeding him. And then he came back to her house party talking about it's King Randall. So
right, yeah.
I think I missed that
King
part.
Randall, yeah. And so then we get to King Randall with Brandy at the restaurant. They seem to have gotten along well. Was it Brandy?
It wasn't Brandy.
It wasn't Brandy. It was Kaden.
No,
it wasn't Brandy.
It was Tanika.
Oh, Trinika.
Okay, there it is.
Oh, okay, guys. Excuse this whole note card right here. Okay, Trinika.
That's why I said don't worry about the names. It's only week 3. We good.
Exactly.
Well, anyone, Jay, you have any thoughts on that date with Trinika, and then we'll move to the archery date.
This was the first most genuine, authentic date to me. Like I felt connection between these people, and it's not, I mean, it's not no deep love connection just yet, but I felt them actually being open to one another. I like how they had the little banter. He was moving in and she's like, oh, you trying to play footsies with me and stuff? He like, I'm trying to get closer and all that. So it was like these two are actually open to each other. So that's what I mean by the authentic, genuine connection that I see, because it's just not like I'm here because I might be get put off. It was more so, let me actually take my time. I like you. Let me find out more about you. So I actually enjoyed their date together.
Okay. So it was a good connection there with Randall and Trinika. Cornbread, any thoughts?
I don't think I got that same vibe from that date, honestly.
Okay, now what were your vibes then? Tell me.
I just thought it was kind of basic, and she was kind of just going through the motions with it, in my opinion. But I could be wrong. Sometimes I read the room wrong on some of these, and sometimes I don't have a good a lot of y'all women read the room better than me on some of these dates.
Maybe a little more intuitive. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
A little bit more intuitive. I'm real.
I mean, I can stand to be wrong too. I'm not gonna hold you.
yeah. Like I'm very pragmatic. So when I was
get that out of you.
I was like,
Whose side do you think it's on, his or hers?
Yeah.
Say it again.
Whose side do you think it's more on, his or hers? Who likes?
Side? Mm-hmm.
I think that Randall probably more interested than she is, in my opinion.
Okay.
I can see that, especially because it was a woman's week to go home. She could be playing. She could be playing a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's right. Now, you know what? Was it you? No, it was it was last week. Last week with Ron, he mentioned the fact that it's so different from week to week, depending on whether it's a man's chance to go home week or whether it's the women's chance. The people kind of flake out on the opposite weeks, and I was like, well, that right there is alarming right there. Like if you one way one week and then a different way the next week, you won't even return my phone call. That's really stank.
The other interesting thing is, she's supposed to be somebody he wouldn't choose, because that was the assignment this week. They supposed to pick.
Right.
So.
Good point. Yeah, but you know what? I take that with a grain of salt, because I think at the point when they get to this, by the time they get to this episode where it's so-called opposites, if they're reasonably attractive, I think these guys are going to go out with the women. You know what I mean? Like it's not. I don't really see it being a thing. I don't know, but that's just me. And so then we get to the archery date with Swayze, Mike, Caden, and I said Caden and her ribs. Lord have mercy. Caden's interviewing and interrogating people. Meanwhile, all the while she's smacking on those ribs. Like, what's going on, Caden? That's so uncouth. That is just so doggone uncouth. Okay, is it me? Is it me, Jay, or am I being too nitpicky? And another thing about it, where did she get the ribs from? Because nobody else had
my only question. Because every season y'all say that they don't feed y'all, but every episode she got some food. So I'm just trying to figure it out.
I think she got DoorDash on speed dial, and they got her credit card, and they said we're gonna charge you premium rates. She said, I don't care, bring me some food, doggone it. I swear, I think she got DoorDash on speed dial for
she
real.
Is coming with her plates of food. She got a picnic basket in the back. I'm just like, bruh. Even in the flashback with Justice later on, she had something. She was popping something in her mouth. I was just like, child.
Yeah, she was killing them ribs. She was killing those ribs.
She made me hungry.
I want to know, were they beef or pork? Can she tell us, are they beef or pork? Like,
I will tell you. I feel on that though, because they'll have you out there shooting all day, and you be like, "Look, I'm tired now. I got to eat before I pass out." She probably had to keep her blood sugar levels up.
Listen, now that you're here,
they be out there starving.
I got one quick question. Do they be having like a little crafty station set up and production be eating somewhere? Because I'm trying to figure out really where she got this plate of food from.
She must have had the inside with production, because usually production to eat separately from the talent, from the cast. So they eat separately and different. They give us certain stuff, but they got different stuff. So I think she must have had to put the plug, with something else. Or she could have bought it. She could have bought it from home. Who knows? She stopped.
Oh my goodness.
She stopped at the Rib Shack on her own. You can do that too. She said, "Y'all ain't gonna have me out here for 10 hours and not give me no food."
She said, "After day one, y'all got me effed up."
Not today. Like we had some people on our cast that they bring sandwiches for everybody because everybody's starving.
Not to cut nobody else, but I get her because I've worked on sets before, so I do come with my own little snacks and all this because I'm a hangry person. Like you don't feed me, you start seeing the other side. I turn into a little gremlin real quick, and so it'd be best. I might have had an insight with production myself too. Like, y'all want this to go right? Y'all better feed me.
That's funny. Yep.
Right, right. I was thinking about that. That is so true. Like I've been on sets before too, and you're right. It can be a long, long day. Like, oof, good grief.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what next right here.
so so we see the men gathering in the gentleman's lounge once again as we close out. Swayze is running late and wearing another small shirt. Samson seems to have enjoyed his one-on-one date with Cherise. I got it right this time. King Randall enjoyed his one-on-one with Trinika. So I don't know what happened on this other card. Okay, they seem to have some chemistry. We kind of disagree on that. So take your pick on that. And let's see. We go to the let's see. LJ had a one-on-one with Looney also. I don't know if he's interested or just talking. No, not wait a minute. Am I going in the wrong order here? I'm just so lost. Zoe says Brandy is not a vibe. Samson says April isn't. LJ calls out Cherise. He's not interested. And I'm not sure who Justice says because I ran out of space. And then we get to the actual elimination dates, and we know that that's April and who was on the other elimination date? I'm sorry,
Kadian.
April.
Kadian.
Kadian, yes, Kadian.
I'm saying her name right.
And so, what are your thoughts? Did the gentlemen they handle with grace and dignity? Did they handle the ladies well on these elimination dates, guys? What do you think?
I feel they did. I do like the connection with, oh goodness, his name is slipping me, Randall and Trinika. I know, like you said, it may be just something that they're throwing at us, but Randall to me seems like a kind of go with the flow type of guy. Seems that he could be, I don't know, pretty decent in a relationship with anyone who meets, I guess, his core values outside of that. But I think the guys did well with the elimination. I did not think April was going to go home. I really thought it was going to be Kaden. So that was a shocker for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of that's an interesting point. I kind of saw April going home because of the way she reacted and responded with Magic Mike. The whole, going from hopping into his lap and then arguing with them was like kind of, and whether it was production driven or not, I don't know how far production can make you go with those type of things, but it just seemed like, yeah, it's going to be time for her to go home because, you can't hop in somebody's lap and then have an argument with them too. Cornbread.
Yeah, I thought the guys did well. Nobody was trying to belittle anybody or say nothing wild. So I thought they did well.
Yeah, I thought so. Jay, your thoughts on it as we close out?
So everybody's gonna overlook the fact Justice is over here trying to big himself up, trying to act like Katie and just hitting him up at 1 o'clock in the morning for no reason.
Oh yeah, that's the part. Okay, yeah.
We just
what was that all about? Yeah, like what was that all about? Do you think
that was a weird statement
going on? Yeah. Well, but if she called him at 1 o'clock though, would it be because maybe he's calling her at 1 o'clock or 12:30? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like she just DM'd you, bro. Like, and then you didn't give no context to why. You're telling Tommy don't poke the bear and all this, and we know that Kadian has a certain way about her. So, you leaving it up into our imagination when you picking her or whatever. But it's like, did she really do anything outside of DM you? Because you didn't give nothing else, but she DM'd you. I'm just gonna say that, but I'm not saying that. Like, what? Like, what are you saying?
Yeah, it was so weird. I didn't even understand what that meant. I was like, what? What did I miss? What did I miss on that?
Right. Yeah. Did she DM on Instagram? Because maybe she was up late and on Instagram and responding to something that he sent her. I mean, it happens. Like sometimes you can't sleep at night or you're up late and somebody sends you a video and then now you see it. They might have sent it at 5 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever. And you see it now and you like, you respond to it like, so what?
Yeah, that's what I just didn't get. And then his other one trying to whip up, and I know it could be edited and they might have spliced it in, but it was kind of like he tried to run up LJ, like, oh yeah, I reintegrated Looney back into the process and stuff. Like, it's like, bro. just please just stop. It's arrogance for me. I don't like it. I'm sorry, I just don't like it.
Now, which one you talking about? Justice?
Justice, yes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just justice. I was just like, outside of that, everybody else was just nice and respectful and just saying, I don't like this person or I like this person. But I'm just like, dude, you're doing too much. And I mean, he might be production's pet, he might be whatever, but I'm just like, bro, you're annoying. So annoying
He might be production's pet, but he's definitely not Jay's pet.
at all.
Oh my goodness. Oh Lord. Well, guys, tell us about we'll start with you, Jay, since you had the mic. Go ahead, tell us about your channel, where they can find you on social media as we head on out of here, okay? And thank you so much for being here, all of you.
So you can find me on YouTube at Another Round JS, and it's also on IG Another Round _JS. And if you just want to be nosy and follow me personally, you can follow me at the Sexy Tomboy.
Ooh, she got some pictures over there, guys. I'm gonna
Oh.
start calling her Magic J. Does that little walk and look around on the
Me and Mike can have a dance off. Look,
there you go. There you go. There you go.
we both get our OnlyFans going. Get these numbers up. No.
OnlyFans.
I'm trying to tell you. And then, Cornbread, you want to tell us about you? I didn't even know you had a YouTube channel, so tell us about that. Let me see if I can find that in here.
I have a YouTube channel. I've been doing podcasting, radio shows, stuff like that for years. I took a little break though.
Him with that voice, okay.
I'm reviving it. I'm about to revive it, coming out with some new interviews coming up soon. But you can follow me on any social media platform. If I'm on it, it's gonna be Cousin Cornbread. You can go cousincornbread.com. cousincornbread.com. That'll take you to all the links to everything I'm on. So you can
there you go. There.
Are you cooking though?
I keep it simple. I don't.
Are you
I'm not a cook. I'm a good cook, like just in general, but I don't show that, right? But I did say I was gonna add that I'm coming out with some cornbread mix too, so y'all stay tuned for that. We put that cousin cornbread mix out there. That's me right there. There you go. So go subscribe because I'm gonna start rolling out some more interviews. My interviews are good. Y'all go watch the past ones. I had a show called Sex, Travel, Sports, Food. Those are the 4 things I talked about every episode. Those are the 4 most important things in life, in my opinion, right? So go check that out. Check out the old ones. It's just like a library. It's always good to go back and look in the archive. You know what I'm talking about?
There you go. There you go. Well, thank you. And that's everything on Cousin Cornbread. We got to go check him out, cousincornbread.com. And Kimberly Reviews. Talk to us. Look, got your thing up here on your YouTube channel. Tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel before we head on out of here, girl.
Oh, thank you so much. I cover reality TV. The shows I'm currently doing is Married at First Sight and Ready to Love. I also enjoy traveling. That's usually what I'm doing on the weekend. So I'll vlog, post my travels on my channel, and then I just do open chats. Whatever you all want to talk about, learn about, we'll just come together and discuss that. So you can find me here on YouTube at Kimberly Reviews. On IG is Kimberly Reviews _. And then I have a Facebook blogger page, which is Kimberly Reviews. So thank you all.
Oh, well, great. And we are out of here. Tomorrow night, though, we're back at 7 p.m. for Bell Collective, guys. So join us again. Thank you, guys, for being such wonderful audience. Thank you, A-Team members, Monique, Roro, LNV. Thank you all that were here. I may have left out some names. Blame it on my head and not my heart. And guys, we are out.